that they're not engaging appropriately socially. So you would expect some variation in a teen child's moods and emotions and reactivity. And if they're too plain, they're sort of under responsive. That may also be a source of concern that parents miss. And parents are probably more likely to intervene when a child is being very obviously on edge or stressed out or tearful or very reactive or preoccupied with peer issues. And so a parent may be unfortunately comforted by someone who seems on the surface okay, but those child also still need their parents' support, even if they seem to be managing okay.
So, Carrie, you mentioned something about the educators realizing those early warning signs, whether it's academically or based on their performance. What advice do you give to educators as a therapist? What advice do you give for educators just to watch out for these warning signs? And do you believe like educators do have a role in trying to communicate with the parents, tell them that there's something wrong, and trying to work together to find solutions for that struggling child?
Sure, educators are under a lot of demands. So I think actually perhaps the responsibility is on parents to maintain an open relationship with their children's school, whether that means volunteering for activities, participating in PTO, maintaining relationships or developing groups like, book clubs or something with other parents. Parents should be sort of finding ways to maintain that communication with the school. And again, that kind of fits again with positive parent involvement and monitoring and supervision. I mean, of course, then educators welcoming that from parents would of course be something that would be a helpful thing educators could do. Certainly educators would have some idea of maybe things that are going on in the school day outside of a parent's awareness, who's hanging out with who, or have friends or peer groups change. But I think an educator, it would be very complicated for them to address every parent every time those shifts happen, especially in adolescent years. But I think that if a parent develops a behavior of including the school as part of one of their touch points, and then the school was open, that would certainly be an avenue to address things and give parents more information and more data about their own kid.
That's so true. We want to again give props to our educators for working so hard throughout the summer and during the school year to provide the best education possible for their children. And I do agree with you. Parents should watch out for these warning signs and try to just lay off the work a little bit and try to be with your children. Teenagerity is a very hard phase to go through, and it's even harder to tell if there are warning signs or not because teenagers go through stuff. It's hormonal stuff and changes, so we cannot really tell what's really going on. Now, for teenagers or for adolescents who cannot access or do not have access to a mental health care provider or a mental therapist, what resources do they have? What advices do you want to give them to the adolescents if you're talking to them directly?
Sure. I mean, certainly if you can advocate for yourself, if you think there's a need and you tell your parents or some other close caregiver or other adult, if you strike out with your parents, perhaps try another adult to see if you can enlist an adult to help advocate and support for you. Now, adolescents are able to engage in treatment for a small number of sessions, perhaps before their parents' consent. But of course, you need, if you needed payment or insurance or things like that. I mean, I think parents, if you have questions, if your child is asking and you're not sure if it rises to the level of needing it, go to your own pediatrician or doctor. And doctors now are asking these questions, which is great. So well visits are coming up. And so if an adolescent has an appointment with a doctor and you're not sure it's the right doctor, at least that doctor has information to guide you to the right place, or perhaps communicate with your parents about what they're seeing. I think of like even just early childhood stuff, and we've talked about this during COVID and other things, like go to the helpers. Like if a teen child knows, okay, maybe I can't exactly talk to my parents, use an educator, a coach, a religious leader. Like there are helpers in your community, and someone will be able to at least advocate for you and help you develop the ways you need to communicate to your own parents to access the help that you need.
Carrie, thank you so much for these valuable, valuable advices, whether it's for the parents or educators. I know that these are for some people it is common knowledge to go and seek help, but for other people it may not be that common, because coming from I'm 30, and back in the day, like when I was younger, it wasn't that common to go ahead and seek mental health, because it's okay, you're going through struggles, we all go through struggles, so it wasn't okay. So it's such a valuable advice that you're giving to these parents and to these children and educators. Just to wrap this up, Carrie, what are your last advices on how important it is to seek mental health care for these younger generations, whether it's teenager or adolescent or just a younger generation in middle school?
Sure, absolutely. It can be both preventative and proactive. I mean, part of what the phase of adolescence is, this bridge between childhood and adulthood. And I mean, ultimately, the goal is that we have communities filled with healthy, productive adults. And addressing these issues early and often, like I said, can help prevent worse problems like delinquency in school and poor peers, substance abuse, all things that would exacerbate mental health issues in adulthood can really be addressed and prevented with proper care through childhood and adolescence.
Therapist Carrie Krawiec from the Birmingham Maple Clinic, thank you again for joining us. Thank you for your valuable insights and advices and time. Thank you again for joining us. To everybody watching us, we're going to go for a quick break. Stay tuned. We're coming back with a lot more news from the greater West Bloomfield and all of our community. We'll see you right after this break.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiver.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. I'm Tyler Kieft, alongside Dayan Chaaban. Plenty of Lakers athletes present and past making news on the gridiron and across the board in the sports world recently. And joining us to talk about those Lakers, particularly those on the gridiron making headlines this week, is Matt Catoni, Civic Center TV sports reporter and your new color commentator for West Bloomfield Lakers football coming up in just a few weeks. Matt, good morning.
Hi, Tyler. Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about a few different Lakers that are making headlines. Of course, let's start at the top level, at the NFL. One of the best Lakers of all time, the only Laker to have his jersey up in the rafters at Lakers Stadium at the Swamp. Matthew Judon, been going back and forth with the Patriots in the NFL for a few weeks, trying to restructure his contract, maybe get a contract extension. Here you're seeing a look at number 99 back in his days at WB. Now one less 9, but plenty of more zeros at the end of his contract. Now, Matt, tell us about that, the latest revision of his contract with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, as you said, it's a revision, not necessarily an extension yet. I think that's going to come later on. I think this was more so a deal done in good faith. He restructured his deal. He was only due about $2 million in guaranteed money this year, but now it's up to $14 million, or it's $14 million guaranteed, and he can get up to about $18.5 million guaranteed if he hits all of his incentives. So like I said before, I feel like this is a deal of good faith. If he lives up to the money that they gave him this season and that he performs well like he has the past 2 seasons, that they're very likely to give him the long-term deal that he was hoping to get this offseason. But it was a little odd because Rob Gronkowski of the Patriots spoke out about the whole deal, negotiating and everything itself, because he said that he's never really seen a situation like this in New England. And I think that just really speaks to the unique relationship that Matthew Judon has with Bill Belichick, that he's even spoken about himself, and that I feel that this was more so done out of loyalty to each other, and that Judon's going to live up to what he was hoping to get after this season by just performing well and just making the Patriots feel that they gave him the money that he deserved.
Yeah, and it does seem like that's the case for the New England Patriots, a team that in the past has particularly said the skill players, you think about quarterbacks like Tom Brady, hey, take a little bit less money on this particular contract that allows us to open up more funds to go bring in better players at other positions and fortify this team. And perhaps that's their vision for Matthew Judon. He's one of those players that helps you fortify that New England Patriots team. 28 sacks over the last 2 seasons since signing with New England in 2021, including a career year a year ago. 15.5 sacks compared to the 12.5 in his first season. That is tied for 4th most in the league over the last 2 years. And so his contract now upwards of $18 million with incentives over the next couple seasons. And Matt, what Judon had even said, he told Boston.com, quote, "I think it represents the way that they want to keep me around here or keep me happy, or they're just representing what they see, that they see what I did and they appreciate it for the organization." They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to budge. They could have said, sign this and that's what you're going to do, but they helped me out so I can help the team out. So definitely loyalty playing a role in that. In Ann Arbor, Donovan Edwards continuing to be a point of a conversation for the Michigan Wolverines, and certainly someone that we are focusing on here in West Bloomfield as one of our great recent alums and expected to be a big part of that offense at the University of Michigan. But he's already setting his sights at the next level as well, Matt.
Yeah, he did an interview with Preferred Walk-On this past week, and it was a lot of interesting stuff. He even noted on his time at West Bloomfield several times and how it affected him at the next level at Michigan. He spoke on how he was the guy at West Bloomfield starting from his sophomore year on. So when he got to Michigan, it was a bit of an adjustment for him, having to be behind guys like Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum, and how it just helped him, develop patience and develop that next man up mentality, that he had to always be ready for his opportunity and just be able to perform at his best. And he even spoke on how he chose Michigan because it reminded him a lot of the situation that he came into at West Bloomfield, where, they weren't expected to necessarily do that much, or nobody was really expecting them to be like in the upper echelon of talent and caliber and beating these great teams. And now, similar to how he wrapped things up at West Bloomfield, they're expected to be up there for the championship.
Yeah, with Blake Corum coming off a major injury himself, it seems that he's also healthy and certainly going to get a lot of those reps at the running back position. But what benefits Donovan Edwards is that he's not only able to be a prolific running back and has a great offensive line in front of him there in Ann Arbor, which certainly, knowing the way that Donovan plays ball, sets him up to have a huge season if he is going to be that primary ball handler. But they can also send him outside the tackles, whether it's in motion out of a 2 running back system, or simply lining him up as a wide receiver or a slot receiver. That could also be something that we should really expect to see a lot more often on Jim Harbaugh's offense this season.
Yeah, he spoke on how versatile his game is itself, how he can be one of the best receiving backs in the country. And as you noted on his health, he's healthy at this point, and he said that's one of his biggest goals this season. So just make it through the entire season healthy, because that's something he's yet to do at the college level. And he said that factors in with Blake Corum too, and how splitting reps 50-50 can help keep them both healthy as they try to get to the next level and perform at the high level in the NFL as well.
Yeah, one of the emphases of that interview that he did, or of recent interviews he's done, has been him saying that he wants to revolutionize what it means to be a running back in the game of football, not just at Michigan, but at the next level as well, and be that revolutionary running back. Whether or not that revolutionary title is going to be something that people end up saying about Donovan Edwards at the end of his career is something up for question. I can kind of see him in more of a role of the next evolution of a guy like Darren Sproles, or even someone we're going to be seeing here in Detroit, in the Detroit area, and Jahmyr Gibbs going forward, kind of in that model. And certainly you would think if Jahmyr Gibbs has a boom season in that running back, wide receiver, kind of offensive weapon role in Detroit, that could really benefit Donovan Edwards should he decide to leave Michigan after his junior season, when he's first eligible to go to the NFL draft.
Yeah, from what I gathered from that interview, it seems like if he gets the opportunity, he will very much be at the NFL the next year. and he feels very confident in his game at the next level. He even said that he feels that he can be one of the most prolific running backs to ever play the game, and likened his ability to that of Walter Payton and Barry Sanders. And I feel if he stays healthy and is able to get through the season without any injuries to hinder him, he can very much be drafted very high in the NFL draft.
Yeah, another former Laker, another Laker alum we can expect to see at the NFL draft this year getting his name called is Trey Mosley, wide receiver for the Michigan State Spartans. And he's expected to have a big year. His nickname, Mr. Reliable, in the Michigan State system, and was certainly that at West Bloomfield. Also, Dylan Tatum in his sophomore year at Michigan State, also expected to have an increased role in Mel Tucker's defense and Scotty Hazelton's defense. A secondary that really could use some help. We have some news from those two out of East Lansing.
Yeah, everything I've seen so far this offseason regarding Trey Mosley is that he's established himself as the clear-cut number one for Michigan State, and it's not really a matter of who's going to be the number one receiver, but who's going to be the receiver after Trey Mosley on the depth chart. And I would expect him to improve upon a very solid season last year with an increased role and just a dramatically increased output this year as well.
And while we have that picture up there, Matt and Jared, if we can go back to that at Master Control. There's Trey Mosley. He's was part of the unveiling of MSU's new alternative uniforms for the season. This is their Shadows uniform, black uniform with white lettering and some darker green trim on the helmet, as well as a green Spartan logo on that black helmet. I want to get your opinion on these. I love these jerseys. I'm not really a big guy on the alternative black jerseys that so many teams play into because it seems a bit cliche at this point. But going off the theme of Thy Shadows, which is a callback to the MSU alma mater song, I love these uniforms. I think they're going to look great at several different games this year. They're expected to be used. What's your opinion on this, especially with Trey Mosley in the 1-7?
Yeah, I think these uniforms are very sharp. As a Michigan fan, I typically don't like Michigan State uniforms, but these are actually, compared to a lot of the other alternate uniforms that they've put out recently, I feel that these are great uniforms, and I think that they'll look even better on the field, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up wearing them under the lights at some point this year, whether it's at Ford Field when they have that night game with Penn State or even against Michigan under the lights.
Yeah, 7:30 kickoff against the Michigan Wolverines at Spartan Stadium in October. Wouldn't be too surprised to see the Spartans in these all-black Shadows uniforms, and then the Michigan Wolverines coming in their all-white uniforms with their iconic blue winged wheel helmet as well. Also, West Bloomfield Lakers making news in the local headlines over the last couple of weeks. Last week at the OAA Football Media Day, they were ranked number 1 in the preseason poll for the OAA Red Division. That's the coaches poll, receiving 2 first-place votes in that ranking, with Clarkston coming in at number 2, Lake Orion at number 3, Rochester Adams at number 4, Rochester Hills, Stony Creek at 5, and Oxford High School rounding out the top 6, the full rankings in the OAA Red Division. But that's not the only place the Lakers are ranked very high coming into the preseason. Once again this year, even with the losses they've had, particularly in the trenches and on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think that they're going to be tremendous this year. As the old saying goes, defense wins championship. And even though they lost a lot of faces up front on the offensive line and on offense, there's still that stout defense that they had last year coming back with experienced players in the secondary and both on the front 7. So I feel that the defense will be able to help lead the Lakers to another tremendous season and hopefully another OAA Red title.
Yeah, another prep sports authority in our local area, the D-Zone, releasing their top 100 rankings, or at least the first 10 of their top 100 rankings for 2023 and the 2024 season. Belleville, a national top 25 ranked team at number 25 in the nation. Of course, the number 1 team, a familiar foe for the Lakers, both at number 2 and number 3. The team that knocked the Lakers out last season in the first round of the playoffs in that heartbreaker at West Bloomfield High School. Cass Tech beginning the season, the Technicians at number 2, and someone we'll see at home at West Bloomfield later on in the season, Southfield A&T, a loaded Warriors team led by Isaiah Zeke Marshall, a 2,500 plus passing yards quarterback, a guy that ran for 1,000 yards also and over 30 touchdowns overall last season, both in the air and on the ground. They're coming in at number 3. West Bloomfield number 5, in between De La Salle at number 4 and Caledonia at number 6, but right there in the top 10 once again to begin the season. So a lot of hype behind the Lakers. They're returning their quarterback in Rick Nance. They have one of the most underrated players, I believe, in the state of Michigan in running back Josh Tate. They are loaded at the wide receiver position, bringing in Cam Flowers, bringing in Nigel Dunton, transferring in from Southfield A&T, and young guys coming up in the system like Elijah Durham. And certainly you look at their defense with a strong front led by Brandon Davis-Swain and 3 returning linebackers in Kari Jackson heading to Penn State, and then Montel Johnson, a commit to Rutgers, and that secondary led by Jameer Benjamin and Blaze Rowe, both going to Division I schools, with Benjamin committing recently to UCLA and Bryce Rowe, committed to Central Michigan. So a lot of hope behind this Lakers team. They kick off their season in just a couple weeks. In fact, 2 weeks from today, August 24th at 7 o'clock at the Zenith Prep Kickoff Classic. We'll have coverage of the Lakers games from all throughout the season, every single week on Civic Center TV and on 89.3 Lakes FM. Stay with us on CivicCenterTV.com for all the details on their games all throughout the season. Matt, thank you so much for being with us today and giving us the latest news.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Matt Catoni, our new color commentator for West Bloomfield Lakers football. He and I will be calling each and every one of the L-Boys games coming up this season. We'll have him back on regularly here on the Splash Live for your latest sports updates as guys like Matthew Judon, Donovan Edwards, Trey Mosley, Dylan Tatum, and more athletes from our local area make news all throughout the state, the county, and the country over the next coming weeks and months. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, we'll go from sports to seniors. The West Bloomfield Parks Connect is coming back in its new location. We'll give you the details on their grand reopening and their new location, plus some fun over the weekend at the Recreation Activity Center, at the library, and more. Stay tuned. That's coming up next on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. Seniors rejoice in the Greater West Bloomfield and surrounding areas as West Bloomfield Parks Connect is set to reopen in a brand new location in just a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks away. On August 23rd, that is a Wednesday morning, they'll have their grand reopening and open house event at their new location, located now at the old Pet Value Pet Store location on 14 Mile Road and Farmington Road, inside the Bushes Market complex location there in West Bloomfield Township. It's their new location. The ribbon cutting ceremony will be on that Wednesday morning from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. in partnership with the Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce. And then they'll have a full open house event going on, inviting the entire community in from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. We are working on special coverage to get out there and be out there for the grand reopening of West Bloomfield Parks Connect, which used to be located in the Orchard Mall. They had to close down that location. They had some issues during the COVID-19 pandemic, of course, keeping people out of there, keeping business out of there. So had to move those senior programs back into the Recreation Activity Center as they looked for a new location. This fell into their laps and became a perfect spot the new location of Connect. Very excited to see Connect come back in full swing. Some activities already underway there, but their formal grand reopening and open house will be happening Wednesday, August 23rd. We'll get Kay McMahon or others from their team spearheading this initiative on the show very soon, and we are working on getting out there on the day of that event, hopefully for a live program that will be all about Connect and all about celebrating this coming back in our community. And Dayan, this is huge for the senior community in our local area. For many years, they had been looking for a place for them to go for senior-centric activities. They had a place at the Orchard Mall. It was great for the time that they were in there. Of course, circumstances with the COVID-19 pandemic out of everybody's control took that away. But now, having this location coming back and already underway, a great place for seniors to recreate and continue to engage on a day-to-day basis.
That is true, Tyler. It's a beautiful thing that they're doing for our older generation. They deserve to recreate. They deserve the space. They deserve to go out and enjoy themselves just like everybody else. And it's kind of harder as you get older because not a lot of spaces are senior friendly. Not a lot of places are comfortable for older generation to be in. So it's a great thing that we're doing this. We should do this, and it's a great thing that it's opening again for these seniors to enjoy themselves and, you know, collectively get together, talk to each other. It can get a little bit lonelier as you get older, as you know your children and everybody else is doing their thing. Everybody's busy in their jobs or with their families. So it's a great thing to give them that space where they can socialize and be together again, recreate, enjoy themselves. So I think it's amazing, Tyler.
WBparks.org is the place to go for more information on the new Connect location and ongoing senior programs already there and throughout the community that you can join in on each and every day, some of which you can join whether you're a resident of West Bloomfield or not, and have fun with those in your community here in the senior community in West Bloomfield and surrounding areas. At the Recreation Activity Center, some fun happening in nature outside over the weekend. It's their West Bloomfield Park's outdoor natural play area, open for free outdoor fun on Saturday from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. That's at the Recreation Activity Center. That's the West Bloomfield Park's building in the Town Hall complex, right across the street from the West Bloomfield Police Department and right next door to the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Also, there'll be activities inside the nature room, so in the case that you get there and it's raining outside or the conditions aren't right for outdoor play in their outdoor natural play area, plenty of activities and learning opportunities inside their nature room with West Bloomfield Park's naturalists. So go to wbparks.org/nature-open-hours for more information, or navigate through their events calendar and click on their nature room open hours happening this weekend. Again, that's Saturday, August 12th, 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the Recreation Activity Center. That same day from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. Hey, go over to the Recreation Activity Center, some outdoor playtime, and that, drop the kids off there and, maybe go over to the West Bloomfield Library right next door and check out A Person's Story, a really cool event happening here called the Human Library from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. at their main branch, again, in the Town Hall Plaza in West Bloomfield. You can speak with a person and check out their life story. Instead of checking out a book, taking it home, reading it over the next several days or several weeks, and returning it to the library, you're going around and speaking to individuals and learning their life stories, opening your horizons and learning more about people, challenging stigmas and stereotypes in our community. And Dayan, you talked recently on the program to Victoria Edwards from the West Bloomfield Library about this program. It's going to be a really extensive and very interesting experience for people, and it's free for anyone in the community that wants to participate.
That is true, Tyler. It was very interesting what Victoria said about everybody volunteering. We talked a little bit about the volunteers who are attending this and trying to talk their life story, how hard it is for them and all the resources available for them. It's an incredible thing to experience, to listen to them, to learn about their hardships and the stigma they've been facing for a very long time. So I believe that it's a great experience, and I really would urge people to go and be there, try to understand where these people come from. It's really life-changing based on what Victoria said and based on what I think. So it's an incredible event happening. It's a human book right there in front of you. it will also get these communities together and try to put diversity in perspective, try to put people together, right, Tyler? So these people are learning new stuff about other people, maybe from different cultures, different religion, and everything they've been through. So it's just an incredible thing that they're doing. Also, the human library is one. It's one of a kind. So here's the thing. It's been going on for 60 years, and it didn't start off in the U.S., but it's happening only in Oakland County, in West Bloomfield, and in California. So it is an incredible experience that they're bringing here. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, for young adults and adults, that's the central audience for this particular event. You do not have to register in order to attend. And again, it's at the main library branch location in the Town Hall complex, Saturday, August 12th, from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. And more information can be found on wblib.org, wblib.org for more info on this event and others coming up at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. We'll take a very short break on the Splash Live. On the other side, how the Oakland County Sheriff's Office is using canines to provide comfort to people in need in our community. Plus, you may be getting some things in the mail that are scams and are looking like they're directed from Oakland County. They're not. We'll give you the details on that, what to look out for, and who to contact if you do receive these scam mailings after this break on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Pure is what you make of it. It's how the hustle of the cities can change the course of history. It's the beauty of the things we create on a canvas, on a plate, or stretched high above the sidewalk. It's a patch of green or a stretch of blue, right in the heart of downtown. It's the buzz of it all, or if you prefer, it's tuning it all out. Clear your schedule and pursue your Pure in Pure, Michigan.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. This is Dayan Chaaban alongside Tyler Kieft. So a very amazing story happening in our Oakland County. It's probably one of the only in Michigan State and maybe nationwide, according to Fox News. So there's a canine unit. It's comforting canine unit that is. These are the amazing puppies in the Comfort Canine Units. They're a group of 12 King Charles Cavalier, and they go around to schools and to public events to comfort people all over our county. This program started in 2022 to comfort people during the hard times during COVID and after COVID and what people have been going through. This is an amazing unit. This program, as you can see, they went to Fox TV recently, Fox 4 Tyler. These puppies just run around absorbing, as what the chief deputy said, they're absorbing all this tension, and they see these puppies comforting these people and just relaxing all these people during these hard times. They even went to some schools after some shootings happened, not to the certain school that the shooting happened, but to comfort those kids, to show them that it's okay to be here, it's a happy place. Tyler, I think this is amazing. What can dogs do? I know you're a cat person, but dogs are amazing.
Well, breaking news, I'm both a cat and a dog person.
Oh, okay.
I'm cat and dog neutral. I'm right in between. Like them both, love them both. I do not have one preference over the other, but we know from recent studies, from seeing these sort of programs pop up in school districts with local police departments, now also with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, just how effective they can be in providing some comfort or just a little bit of that release of serotonin and dopamine during the day for something that's for a good reason in our communities. Whether you need the help at that moment in time or you need the pick-me-up or not. Something great being done by the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, and thank you for that report, Dayan. Also making news in Oakland County, this time from the clerk's office and register of deeds. You may be receiving some mailings that may indicate that you owe back taxes, or you may have a county deed record notification, or from the home warranty division. It's likely a scam. Over the past several weeks, the Oakland County Clerk's Office has said they've received reports from many residents getting postcards in the mail that have terms such as property lien holder or final notice or registration is required, with a 1-800 number to call to complete the process of getting those off of your record. Turns out that is not the case. They're not going to contact you in that way, and that 1-800 number has zero connection whatsoever to the Oakland County Clerk's Office. If you see one of these mailings, consider it a big red flag. Do not call the numbers. Do not engage with these individuals. Call the Oakland County Clerk's Office at 248-858-0651 or send them an email at deeds@oakgov.com. Better to be safe than sorry, even if you do believe that the letter you're receiving is not one of these, but is rather a legitimate letter. If you're not entirely sure, go ahead and give the clerk's office a call, 248-858-0651. The worst case that's going to happen is they're going to tell you, yes, this is in fact legitimate, and they're going to help you through what you need to go through on the phone and probably direct you to come into their office in Pontiac. Finally, for this edition of the program, the Michigan Secretary of State's office has put forth a new effort to help you protect your children online, absolutely free. It's called the Protect My Child effort. ProtectMyChild.com is the website. This allows you to register your kids' cell phone numbers, email addresses, social media handles, and more, and puts them on a list that helps them reduce the number of targeted ads or inappropriate content that comes into their inbox or on their social media feed, in partnership with these different outlets and the Michigan Secretary of State's office, as well as federal outlets as well. Again, you can get more information on ProtectMyChild.com and register all your kids' information online as needed. And that will help your kids, especially as they continue through the last weeks of the summer on the internet, and as they're going to be using the internet more for educational purposes throughout the school year. You can protect them on all these different outlets that they may be seeing information all throughout the day. Plenty of more news coming up on the Splash Live all throughout the week. You can always join us live and on demand on CivicCenterTV.com all throughout the week. For our entire team, Matt Catoni, Dayan Chaaban, Jared Clark, and Anthony Juba, I'm Tyler Kieft. Take care of each other. We'll have plenty more coming up on the Splash Live.